Hello, welcome to my Vodcast on managing sports organizations. My name is Stefan Fernandes, and today I'll be discussing the concept of organizational change with relation to the International Association of Athletics Federation. The aims of this Vodcast are to define organizational change and key components of organizational change theory, to briefly describe the forces for change, to discuss the type of strategic change adopted by the IAAF, and finally to understand the importance of change management. Before I begin, here's a brief introduction into the International Association of Athletics Federation. The International Association of Athletics Federation, also known as the IAAF, is the governing body for the sport of track and field athletics. It was formed in 1912, right after the Sweden Olympics. Over the last 100 years, they have expanded from 17 member federations to 214 member federations. They are responsible for the development and management of athletics worldwide. Currently, the IAAF president is Sebastian Newbold-Coe. They aim to further enhance their vibrant sport to offer new and exciting prospects for athletes and spectators. Organizational change. Van der Ven and Poole 1995 defined organizational change as a difference in form, quality, or state over time in an organizational entity. Organizations are required to uncover the reason as to why change is required, how change should be implemented, and how to manage it efficiently. Organizational change can be split into two sections, one being the type of change that takes place and the other, change management. There are four types of changes that can occur within an organization, which are people, structural, technological, and product changes. Change management refers to the process of managing the people side to successfully meet targets set out at the beginning of the change process. Forces for change. Changes come from shifts in external and internal environments. Organizations can either react to this or plan for the future. An organization that decides to plan ahead might be more focused on attaining a competitive advantage in its field. In the IAAF's case, August 2015 saw athletics hit with major doping allegations, and the delivery of the sport was not capable of keeping up with the ever-changing world. These two events triggered change in the IAAF, with Sebastian Coe acting as the change agent. As a result, they have taken a new strategic approach to ensure the IAAF meets its target, which is to deliver the sport in a modernized way to its stakeholders. Types of strategic change. Ballong and Haley's 2008 model show four types of strategic changes that an organization may follow. The four types are evolution, revolution, adaptation, and reconstruction. The former two will transform the organization's culture over time, whereas adaptation and reconstruction will tend to focus on realigning the organization with its current business model. Currently, the IAAF have gone for an evolution strategy. Sebastian Coe has decided to make use of existing strategies left behind by Lamine Diack while also developing new strategic capabilities. This type of change will transform the culture of the IAAF gradually to the implementation of interrelated initiatives. Recent changes that have come about from this choice in strategy include the creation of a new ethics department, which will work independently to tackle the doping issue. Also, the creation of new advisory bodies will provide support to the council and focus on the administrative side of the sport. It is essential that once a strategy has been finalized, relevant stakeholders are aware of the change. This is when change management comes into play. Slack and Perrin 2006 state that successful management of change is essential for organizational effectiveness. Why must change be managed? There are people that will resist change, and not everyone will understand the nature of change. New strategies can only be implemented successfully by changing the mindset of internal stakeholders. Lewin's 1951 classic change model is a good way of understanding the change process within an organization. There are three stages to this model: unfreeze, change, and refreeze. We'll focus on how Sebastian Coe has initiated this change and how he's currently managing it. The first stage, unfreeze, involves developing and communicating a message that underlines why the organization cannot continue with existing methods. This stage was initiated throughout Sebastian Coe's presidential election campaign. Sebastian Coe can be classed as a transformational leader because he believes that the IAAF can achieve greater things and is dedicated to the task. This has been reflected in his speeches, which has been motivational to council members. The second stage refers to the change itself. There will be uncertainty amongst employees, and change agents must understand that it will take time for employees to adjust to the change. In every meeting to date, Sebastian Coe has touched on the benefit these changes will bring. For example, how funding into facilities and coaching education will produce more coaches, which will lead to the intake of more athletes. The final stage is refreeze. The change will most likely be cemented in the organization's culture, as well as stabilizing the organization. The IAAF have not yet reached this stage. However, Sebastian Coe has been visiting member federations to evaluate resources at their head offices. To sum up, the IAAF are in the transitioning stage of the change process. They are implementing new structural changes to help modernize the delivery of the sport to their stakeholders. The initiatives are more member-oriented than they have ever been, hoping to reduce the gap between the rich and poorer federations. In terms of managing change, Sebastian Coe takes pride in what he does and is keen on removing all inhibitors in his quest to unite the athletics family. Here are some recommendations on how the IAAF management could improve performance. The IAAF should look into prioritizing the issue of tackling doping first. They should focus on cleaning up the sport before selling it to the public. One way of doing this is by sending specialist teams to educate member federations on how to manage doping. By doing this, they might mend a few damaged relationships with certain organizations. One president cannot check up on all federations at one time. This can be solved by allocating successful federations a developing federation to provide expertise and perform progress checks on current changes. Lastly, they should develop a strong marketing campaign to raise awareness on all the competitions that IAAF have to offer. This can be done by advertising on social media sites or by linking up with former athletes. That concludes my podcast on organizational change within the IAAF. Thank you for listening.